One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry, a metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way, a legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss this morning. Good morning, everybody. As you guys can see from the title right here, Iran rejects U.S. talks as well as Trump reacts to SCOTUS and new labor pick. Now, listen, regarding Supreme Court, just coming out, there was the ruling on the birthright citizenship literally 5 minutes before we went live. So let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological breakdown of what we're going to go ahead and be speaking about. And obviously you guys are going to know by the end of me letting you guys know what we're going to be discussing this morning on what the birthright citizenship ruling was. But first, let's go ahead and do a chronological order of what we're going to be discussing. Trump says U.S. and Iran set for new talks in Qatar, as you guys obviously know, was supposed to happen today. And it sounds like that they are still doing some sort of meeting up, but they're not going to be doing face-to-face, essentially. And then we have President Trump responds to SCOTUS rulings. That was regarding yesterday. And remember how we went over all the different things the three different things that SCOTUS basically ruled on. He's going to give his reaction, of course. And then we have Florida wildlife officials provide update on that deadly alligator attack that we spoke on and reported on yesterday. They've actually got some sort of officials that are going to be speaking to us. So then we have U.S. vows, quote, robust and rapid earthquake relief to Venezuela, which I'm glad that we are doing that. And not just us in the United States, but the world. The world has gotten on board of helping Venezuela for sure. We have President Trump on SCOTUS and voting, and over there regards to Iran. He is in the Oval Office yesterday, and he gives his thoughts. He gets questioned. And then we have Trump nominates acting Labor Secretary Keith Sonderling for permanent role. Holy shit. Not just acting secretary now, permanent role. President Trump, Donald Trump announced Monday on Truth Social, which is yesterday, that he's nominated acting Labor Secretary Keith Sonderling to take on the role permanently, which would require Senate approval. So just at least know that is happening. We have heat wave prompts cooling centers in mid East, it says, actually, which is good. The Mid East is actually getting pretty smoked right now. Pretty much all of the East is really getting smoked. Then we have Iran rejects face-to-face talks with U.S. leaders. That happened just 2 hours ago, mind you. And then we have another update on that is U.S.-Iran peace talks in Doha, Qatar off to a shaky start. Says U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, will be in Doha to meet Qatari mediators to discuss U.S.-Iran negotiations. But talks with Iran are not yet planned for Tuesday. That is not good, just so everyone knows. And then we have breaking right before the live stream started. SCOTUS strikes down Trump's order on birthright citizenship. That That's a big one. Like I told you guys, I've been waiting for this ruling since last Tuesday, actually. And I was really hoping it wouldn't come to that ruling, but it did. So at least everyone knows where we're at. First, let's go ahead and do our call to actions. We got a little update on the call to actions, by the way. I'm going to explain why here in a second. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. It's free to do so. And what else is free is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. Listen, this is the way that we keep our lights on as well as be on these airwaves. So thank you guys for becoming member and staying members. Now, first, the one thing I did want to do is I want to explain what's happening here. So we have upgraded the memberships from $2.99 a month and $6.99 a month and $24.99 a month. Those were the 3 tiers. Now we've got it updated where it's $4.99 a month for the tier 1 for Prospect. And then for tier 2, it's $9.99. And then for tier 3 is $24.99. Now, what's cool about it is YouTube is allowing us to do this and not affect the members that are already members. Okay. So if you guys bought in at the membership at $2.99 a month, you're locked in at $2.99 a month, unless you memberize yourself and you don't want to be a member anymore. And then you come back. Well, now it'll be $4.99 a month for you. So just so you guys know, the members that are already here, you guys aren't going to be affected in that regard. And last but not least, well, actually, I skipped over this. Make sure you guys follow my Instagram right here at BallValve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the, politics in general. We also have a Discord server for all you legends. Make sure you guys join up. We go in the video description down below, and that is where you can find the invite link. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way. We've got our email up. We're always scanning. All right. Good morning to everybody, man. Always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Let's see who we've got in the building. Let me go ahead and scroll all the way up. We got Mr. Carney Vanguard. Happy belated birthday to you, by the way. It was his birthday yesterday. Good morning. Good morning to you, kind sir. We got Easy Frank as well. We got Naomi in the building, as well as STMC Prez. Good morning to you, kind sir. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. And TVT Vanguard Critters. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got Sterling Will. He's saying good morning from Iran. Stop the cap, yo.
Stop the cap.
Let's see. We got Charlie Rose. Good morning to you as well. We got Motobomb Virginia and the Coffee Crew for the raid. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Let's see here. We got Pharmacat. Good morning to you as well. Always appreciate you. We got PJ, brother PJ up in the building. We got Texas Gidget. Thank you for hanging out with us. Virginia Chaos. Good morning to you guys. And Steve Easy. I see you up here, homie. I see you. We're moving our way down. We got Miss Lotus as well. Good morning. Good morning. We're about to get into it. Yes. So the gifted memberships will be more now. It'll reflect $4.99 on the gifted members. So for the people that do gift members, at least know that as well. So thank you for clarifying that, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and pretty much get right into the madness this morning. First, we're going to see what Trump was talking about with U.S. and Iran, set for the new talks in Qatar. Obviously, we know the situation is changing minute by minute right now in today, because this is from yesterday. I just want to lead us up into current time. Now, I do want to see if there is anything of value here. It looks like Trump has posted on X.
From Fox News, as we continue to follow all of the latest.
Iran has requested a meeting. It will take place tomorrow in Doha. Well, that's kind of crazy that you say that they request a meeting, but it says over here that they will not be meeting in Doha. It says direct talks with Iran are not yet planned for Tuesday. So how does that work? All right. And then this is going to be bad.
Out of the U.S.-Iran
not a good look
there in the Middle East. Fox News sharing a post from.
Hey, unfortunately, this is not an open panel. This is a very closed panel. I mean, actually, there is no panel. It's just me. That's the way that we run this show, at least. And once in a while, once in a blue moon, I do like to hop on a panel and hang out with people and different ideologies and stuff like that. But truth be told, I keep it to a show. This isn't a hangout space, you know.
President Trump on Truth Social, really from maybe about an hour
Nothing but
ago,
love, though.
saying President Trump revealing that Iran has requested a meeting with U.S. negotiators following a series of strikes between the regime and the U.S. military. Trump announcing that high-stakes meeting will take place tomorrow over in Doha. Now, the president has not said who will take part in those talks.
Well, as we know, it's Steve Witkoff and what is it? His son-in-law? What is it? What is he considered? Let me see here what it says here on this one. Son-in-law, yeah, Jared Kushner. And unfortunately, the meeting is not happening.
And whether Vice President Vance will attend again, as he did over in Switzerland.
As far as I know, Vance is not over there right now.
U.S. officials say both the U.S. and Iran have agreed to stop the back-and-forth strikes for now, and the talks will come after days of strikes.
That could happen too,
VC. When
VC.
Iran launched an attack on a ship off the coast of Oman. That was on Thursday of last week, and we actually have a live look right now via marine traffic. This is showing the Strait of Hormuz at this hour. The attack led the U.S. military to resume retaliatory strikes on Iran Friday, calling Iran's actions a violation of the MOU, that memorandum of understanding that was signed by both sides about.
Yeah, but it's so funny watching both sides say, you fucked up the ceasefire, you fucked up the ceasefire. Meanwhile, we know exactly how the breakage of the ceasefire has already been. And meanwhile, we're still in a very, very fragile ceasefire right now.
2 weeks ago. Javed Ali is with the University of Michigan, joining us now live to talk much more about this and those latest developments. Javed, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us here.
Josh, always nice to be with you.
And at first,
we really don't need to hear much from him on this. Let's see if we get any new imaging here. It looks like, okay, so we saw that post already. Let's see if there's any other updates on this. There is. It looks like Fox News puts out something.
Time. So I have to believe those three things.
Let's see here.
It did.
Skipping ahead.
Now again, some of the 15.
I was hoping that he was going to read it, but he's not. Violence will be met with violence. Press secretary tells Fox and Friends that the Trump administration hopes diplomacy with Iran succeeds, but warns the U.S. is prepared to respond militarily if American interests are attacked. Quote, the president obviously wants to see the peace process play out, and the Iranians would be best to sign a good deal with the United States of America because the president has proven he's unafraid to use the might of our military, which is true. But they're not gonna give up on the just the merit of force. There has to be a little bit unfortunately, what the force that needs to actually happen in Iran is within. That's the force that needs to happen. Regime change needs to happen, but not from us. It needs to happen from them. And I know that has been said time and time again on this channel, but it's true. And people going, oh, yeah, well, they tried doing that and they just killed them off. Well, that's true. But we're talking in the tens of thousands when we need to be talking in the millions. We need millions of them. There's 90 million Iranians that live in Iran. You need millions of people to, get up and do a revolution, essentially.
Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, much like they did going back to 2015 to 2018 and years prior to that, are on the ground in Iran inspecting the different facilities. Now, again, some of these are probably damaged or hard to get access to, but there are other Iranian facilities that may not have been targeted. So it's a large enterprise.
What's up, Joker? Good morning to you, by the way. And yes, happy July 1st for Canadians coming up here, and then of course 4th of July for America. Yes, sir.
In Iran, and I think the U.S. is going to demand that inspections have to happen if the deal.
Okay, we already know that. Tell us things that we don't already know. All right, so cool. Let's move on. We're going to have to. President Trump responds to SCOTUS rulings. Now, this is yesterday, by the way. Real quick, we got Glare 1%er coming in with the 20-month membership. Make colonization great again. Yo! I very much appreciate the 20 months. Let's fucking go, bro. Thank you very much for supporting the show and enjoying and hanging out with us, bro. Good morning to you, by the way, Glare. So this is Trump going to be responding to the SCOTUS rulings that happened yesterday. Remember, we went over the 3 different big rulings that happened. We have another big ruling this morning that just happened on birthright citizenship. We're about to get into that here at the end of the show. But just know, unfortunately, the Trump administration lost that one. That was the one that I was hoping that we would win, but unfortunately, Supreme Court did not agree. So anyways, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll bring this to your guys' forefront here. Here we go.
All right, you're watching live now from Fox. Welcome back. I'm your host, Christy Matino, and we're keeping a close eye on the Supreme Court this morning. We're watching these two decisions in particular, Trump versus Cook and Trump versus Slaughter, and that related to President Trump's authority on firing federal officials.
What's up, Carrie? Good morning to you, by the way. Happy Topless Taco Tuesday to you and everybody, by the way. We got Blair coming in again, by the way, with the 5 spot, saying if we're going to police the world, let's take the spoils that go along with it. Oh, man. Well, that's exactly what we're fucking doing, apparently. So, hey, Blair, I very much appreciate you.
Well, President Trump just issuing this statement
Thank you
to
for the
Truth
5
Social
spot.
as he is now reacting here to the Trump versus Slaughter decision.
Now, his reaction is going to be on those 3 that he won yesterday, essentially. So this is going to be a very opposite when we see Trump respond on how birthright citizenship was ruled this morning. It's not going to be as, hey, big win just moments ago. Yeah, it's not going to be that. So,
as he says, big win just moments ago at the Supreme Court in the Slaughter case, confirming presidential power in our country to remove executive branch officers and agency appointees or representatives under Article 2. This decision was long sought by United States presidents dating all the way back to the 1930s. It is such an honor to be the sitting president who won this historic and unprecedented ruling, one of the most important ever given with respect to presidential powers. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, a live look here at the Supreme Court. I just want to provide a bit of context here as the Supreme Court dramatically expanded presidential power, upholding President Trump's firings of,
well, not expanding, but upholding
the heads of the independent federal agencies, with one important exception, the Federal Reserve. Now, the justices allowed Fed Governor Lisa Cook to stay in her job while she fights President Trump's effort to fire her over allegations of mortgage fraud, which she has denied. But other than at the nation's central bank with its role of setting interest rates, the court held that presidents have free rein to fire agency heads at will, despite federal laws that require a cause for such dismissals, and a 91-year-old decision that had limited executive authority. And that decision...
So it's literally like a right to work situation. But within government.
Humphrey's executor was overturned there. And I just want to share a bit more context here about what Humphrey's executor was. That precedent was handed down in a 1935 case that was also involved in an FTC member who was fired. In that case, William Humphrey refused a request to resign from President Franklin Roosevelt, who had wanted to install people friendlier to his New Deal initiatives that would be under the scope of the agency. Now, Humphrey died the next year, but the executor of his estate sued the administration for back pay, and the Supreme Court justices of the time unanimously backed the FTC and found that a president could only get rid of a commissioner in cases of neglect or duty in certain cases. So President Trump, though, now responding to that Trump versus Slaughter ruling, and I wanted to bring it to you here on Live Now from Fox. So once again, the Supreme Court really expanding presidential power there for President Trump.
Okay, as we already know, she's now in the repeat cycle. Let's see if there's any other responses. That doesn't look like it. All right, let's move on. We got a lot to get through, as always. Okay, remember yesterday we reported on this whole situation regarding an alligator attack that killed a person. It looks like I told you guys before, I mean, we do our best to follow all these stories that we go and present. So this morning yesterday, I'm sorry, there was a press conference that happened with officials, essentially. So let's go ahead and bring this up and see what is going on. We're not even going to play the whole thing, but we are going to get the front monologue and all of that. So let's see what's happening.
All right, so
here.
we did want to dip into the UK Parliament, but it does look
Not right
like
now.
the update is now underway about the deadly gator attack in Florida. We're going to head there now live and listen in.
Can't hear nothing yet. Come on. Bring up the volume correctly.
Investigations
There we go.
with FWC and also Florida Forest Service supervisors who actually manage the property where this incident occurred. I know there's a lot of questions concerning the incident, the incredibly tragic incident that occurred yesterday involving a young female who lost her life after an encounter with an alligator. So the goal today is for us to get as much information that we can get out to you. It's still an active investigation. We're trying to put all the pieces together, and also give you an opportunity to ask questions. So with that, I really encourage you, please use great discretion on the question.
You know, and I kind of understood why they got to that, though. You know, let's say you do any type of mail-in ballots, which a lot of states do that. But not only that, I mean, I understand what you're getting at, Blair, but it also can you know, if there's mail-in ballots, it allows people and shipping companies, USPS, it allows all these different companies to, well, has a bigger chance of having something go wrong in the aspect of somebody uh, interfering with the delivery of ballots. So then what? You have all these ballots that aren't going to be counted because the shippers didn't get it there in time. And so that's now the people's problem. So I kind of understood that whole thing, but I also do understand the other side of the argument as well, Blair. So, but yeah, I hear you.
Just out of respect for the family, the loved ones, the friends, you know, the family, and also the first responders, the whole team of first responders that responded to this type of event, because it's never fun. But with that, I'm going to introduce our public information officer, Chad Weber.
Good afternoon. I think the major already covered it. First and foremost, the FWC wants to extend its condolences to the family. Like he said, it's a very tragic time. What I can tell you about this event, it took place Sunday afternoon, approximately 1:30. We received a phone call from Seminole County that a swimmer was bitten by an alligator. At that time, Seminole County FWC and Department of Forestry responded to a 31-year-old female.
She was my age.
Her name right now because she does have family that's out of state, and out of respect to her, we'd rather.
Wait, because her family's out of state. That's a weird excuse. So she was 31 years old, so that she was as old as me. I guess it's obviously very young to die from an alligator attack. And then there was this call to action for people over there that were like, well, let's go kill that alligator now. It's like, well, it would have been one thing if she was like laying up on the grass and she was like on some towel just hanging out and sun tanning or something like that. But that didn't happen. She was inside the actual like river or whatever, swimming around. Now, that's a tragic event, but you can't really super blame the alligator. It's not the alligator's fault. I mean, you're in his house, essentially.
Make notification to the family rather than find out from the news. So she was bitten on both of her arms. The boyfriend was the one that made the phone call. He was.
What's up, No? Good morning to you, by the way.
Trying to get her from the alligator's mouth. And on the way to the hospital, she did pass away from her injuries.
It's terrible.
Like I said, it was a multi-agency response from Seminole County, FWC, and Division of Forestry. We utilized our air assets, and Seminole County utilized their helicopter as well to locate the alligator. We have harvested 2 that were in the area. One was 12 foot, the other one was 13 foot. So
harvested? What does that mean? Just kill them?
Currently, we're still conducting the investigation, and at this time, again, we just offer our condolences to this young lady.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame you, Miss Lotus. I wouldn't. Listen. Even where I live, where there isn't alligators, I'm not going to be doing that. Okay, you know what I mean? I'm not fucking around.
His family. Are there any questions I can clear up for you guys right now?
Judy Bug, good morning.
Tell us more about what the girl and her boyfriend were doing. Are they from this area? Were they just hiking that trail? Were they just stopping to swim? It was hot outside. Is there any more insight you can give us?
Yes, they are. She is from Orlando, and they were hiking, and they just stopped to swim. Right now, in this part of our investigation, it doesn't seem like they were doing anything that was malicious to an alligator. They were in approximately 3 foot of water.
Yeah, so that's going to explain why she got bit. She was in 3 feet of water inside playing, in the water, which, and by the way, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have done that or whatever the case is. It's just a very unfortunate event, and it's sad for her and for her family, no doubt. Anyways, we're going to move on into U.S. vows, quote, robust and rapid earthquake relief to Venezuela, which is great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad not only to hear that from us, but from the rest of the world actually as well. But it sounds like we've got some shit underway here.
We continue to follow the rescue and recovery efforts after the deadly earthquakes that struck Venezuela. And this is a live look right there on the ground, as you can see the heavy machinery right there as crews are continuing to sort through the rubble. This also comes as a strong aftershock jolted Venezuela earlier this morning following last week's devastating back-to-back earthquakes as civilians and emergency.
Yes, and you are right about that, Blair. And there is that issue, and you're very right about it. So I do understand what you're getting at for sure. But I'm just saying, like, for instance, let's say if it's supposed to go where all ballots are counted that night, well, the people that are, mail-in ballots and stuff like that, this is the slippery slope part of it is, unfortunately, you're leaving that your ballot decisions that are mail-ins from the carriers, which is not a good situation because, dude, I get shit that's late all the fucking time. You know what I mean? It's supposed to arrive here at this time, and then it shows up here fucking, half a week later or a week later. I mean, I understand that. So I'm trying to sympathize and empathize with the people that are actually doing mail-in ballots where they're not getting cut off and it being allowed to not count. What, are you going to have all those mail-ins that are now not going to count for shit? I mean, as long as it was posted before the election date, it should be good. It should be valid. If it was posted before the election.
Responders are continuing to comb through that debris. This is now day 5 after those earthquakes, and there continues to be support and resources to those impacted. So far, the government there in Venezuela has reported more than 1,400 people have died from the quakes, and thousands more have been reported missing. The Trump administration has tasked the State Department to lead the response by the United States. And just a short time ago, the State Department issued this statement right here, stating, based on the urgent needs identified.
Well, real quick before she reads that, Sterling says voting should be a national holiday. No women allowed. That's funny. He's just making a joke, obviously. But what I'm getting at with national holiday thing, that you bring up, is there's a lot of places that actually vote more than just once during a cycle, and it doesn't happen yearly. So that's the thing that is going to make it a little complex. Because, for instance, I just went through the primaries and the runoff here in Alabama. So that's 2 voting days leading up to the main election in November. So that was 3 elections, right? And within a single voting cycle of 4 years, like, man, that would be hard to navigate, to be honest.
By U.S. first responders on the ground, the United States has increased its financial commitment to this life-saving response to more than $300 million. On top of previously announced humanitarian funding, the department has committed an additional $50 million in funding for critical partner organization operations. This brings total funding for partner organizations to $200 million, including $100 million in bilateral funding and $100 million in support through the country's pooled fund.
Interesting. All right. So they're getting $300 million, monies wise. And then, of course, there is all of, the equipment and personnel that are out there going through rubble, finding, unfortunately, dead bodies.
So important
just
information right there. And to speak more about this response, I do want to bring in State Department Deputy Spokesperson Mignon Houston to our show. Deputy, we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now.
Boy, do I agree with that, Sterling.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
So some really important updates right there that the State Department just issued, talking about the ongoing efforts. And it also spoke towards the multi-agency coordination and the partnership between different countries. Can you share more about this ongoing coordinated effort?
Well, look, this has been an unprecedented response from the United States government. It really has truly been a whole of government approach. Here at the Department of State, we started with search and rescue. We mobilized a highly elite team, a disaster assistance response team that consisted of 4 teams from Los Angeles, California, Fairfax, Virginia, 2 teams in Miami, highly skilled and trained in urban search and rescue. They were on the ground. These are firefighters. These are physicians, engineers.
Wow. They're not just personnel that are like sympathetic to the situation and wanting to be there and help, but these are actual like responders. That's great. And also, she said, like, doctors and stuff.
And what they were there to do is save lives, particularly those who were buried in the rubble. We saw over the weekend babies being pulled out, fathers, sons being pulled out with first responders and their U.S. flags on their arm. It was heartwarming to see the hope that people are still being saved, but it's because of the heroic efforts of the men and women here across the United States, and we're so grateful for what they're doing on the ground. As you mentioned, we have mobilized $300 million. That money is so critical. It is going to vetted, trusted organizations on the ground, understanding the local context, getting those critical supplies in areas that are hardest hit, making sure we're getting those resources where they need to go. But most importantly, what we're seeing is this whole of government approach. The Department of War, the Department of State, Southcom, we had an airport that was badly damaged.
I can see why she definitely became a politician. She's got that politician kind of flow and rhetoric, and she, her reading that script that she's reading.
We could not get our supplies in, but the U.S. stepped up. That airport is now operational. We have delivered tons of goods to a dozen C-17 airplanes have landed, bringing in goods, and we're helping countries around the world get their goods in. So it's really just an unprecedented effort by the U.S. government. We're so happy to be there with our neighbors in the region.
a very complex and highly coordinated effort. And I do want to ask, you were talking about the damage to the airport, and that did pose a challenge as there are boots on the ground and continuing efforts and resources pouring in to help those impacted. What is the biggest challenge, or what are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing right there on the ground as those rescue and recovery efforts continue?
Well, yes, and by the way, Naomi said hit the like and come say hi in the chat, of course. Listen, all I ask you guys to do is hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Listen, you guys don't have to like all this craziness that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So thank you for that.
This is a great question. Immediately, our #1 priority was search and rescue, was getting those highly skilled and trained urban search and rescue teams on the ground so that they could save lives right away. The next step was making sure that airport was functional, was operational, so that we could bring in these airplanes, these large C-17s with the critical supplies. We know the needs right now, particularly for the survivors, our sanitation, our food, water, medical supplies. We know this recovery effort will take time, but getting that airport operational
yeah, it's going to take fucking time. There's, I mean, many issues that are going on over there in Venezuela that we've been covering. So it's not like that. People don't, I cut her off and now we don't know. We already know, you know, we got the gist here. $300 million and actual response, which is great. All right, let's go ahead and get into Trump over there responding to the SCOTUS rulings yesterday, the 3 that got ruled yesterday, not the one that we're going to be talking about here later about birthright citizenship that he did not win. So he's going to seem a little happier, I'm sure, in the Oval Office from yesterday than he would today. And then voting and Iran. So he's going to be talking about all of these things. Here we go.
Very exciting to me. And if you bring the bill, and I'm going to let Lee explain it.
First, actually, we haven't embraced our fuck ups this morning. We got to do that.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
You must always embrace thy process. Absolutely. And also, we got to get the money part over with.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Man, I was already on top of that shit. Absolutely. So let's get back into the madness.
Exactly what it means, but it means a lot to people that own vehicles, cars in particular, but cars and anything else. It's going to save them a lot of money, and they're going to be able to do it themselves. Please.
Mr. President, this is a presidential memo to the Environmental Protection Agency, a presidential memo supporting the freedom to fix. Americans have the freedom to fix their vehicle. President Trump insists upon it. We are not going to be going.
Now, this executive order that he is about to sign, I think, is a W for Americans, by the way. Basically, it allows these companies not to be able to make shit where only they can fix it, essentially. And parts and all that kind of shit is supposed to not be as expensive. It's supposed to be maintaining your vehicle is going to cost less now with this executive order, essentially.
After people who are fixing their own vehicle, like past administrations have. Additionally, we've been concerned, President Trump has been concerned about aftermarket parts, cheap knockoff aftermarket parts coming into the United States, harming small businesses, harming Americans. This presidential memo puts an end to it. Also, the only third-party certification for these aftermarket parts is CARB in California, a process that's backlogged and faulty. So we're going to break that monopoly, and no longer will CARB be the only third-party certifier for these aftermarket parts. Again, President Trump is insisting on fixing it. This presidential memo does that. President Trump was calling me up.
Well, it gives, it looks like it gives actual competition. And then when you have competition, there goes the price of things start magically dropping.
On a Saturday night, when this idea first came to his head, and he says he wants to do a press conference right away to get this over the top. In February 2nd, we signed a right to repair for our farmers so that they can repair their tractors and their non-road equipment. And this is covering everyone else.
I mean, think about it. It came to my attention because I noticed they were arresting people for fixing their car. They were arresting people.
Damn.
That's not even.
I've never heard of that, but I'm sure that, you know, our wallets have definitely been affected for damn sure, obviously.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so it's right to fix, and I think it's really common sense. If somebody wants to fix, some of these people are better mechanics than the mechanics in the shop. They're telling the mechanic in the shop how to fix their car or their truck. We signed the truck one a little while ago. So I'm going to sign this, and I'll be happy about it. We rule by common sense to a large extent. All right, Lee, good job.
They did that, not me. That was them.
Okay.
There's the executive order.
Can you imagine that? They want to put you in jail if you fix your car.
Well, I've never heard of that. That sounds a little extreme, but.
Do you have any questions, Mr. President?
But it could be true. I mean, I haven't heard of that. I haven't fact checked it. But I like I said, it's going to bring prices of these parts down for sure.
Do you make the Supreme Court ruling today in regards to the mail-in ballots, and what comes next for the SAVE Act after today's ruling?
Well, because of the mail-in ballot ruling, which was a little bit surprising, gives people more time to vote illegally, let's say. But the SAVE Act is even more important, and that's the right. You have to be a citizen of our country. Okay.
Okay. So we obviously know that he's been trying to push the SAVE Act and basically not wanting to get anything else through until the SAVE Act gets passed. Essentially, that's the way he's playing it out. So let me skip ahead a little bit here.
The parliamentarian. She's been there for years, and she was put there by Harry Reid and Barack Hussein Obama. Harry Reid was a bad guy, and he was the leader, and he put her. And the speaker has the right to immediately fire her and put somebody else there. And it's not even believable that she's still there. She's obviously a good politician or something.
Mr. President,
or something.
The Supreme Court just affirmed your right to fire the heads of independent agencies. Should we expect more firings as a result of this rule?
I don't think so. It gives me the right, and not me, it gives a president the right to do what the president should have the right to do. And it's very interesting. It's a big ruling. It's been going on for almost 100 years. They've been working on this. And
oh, absolutely they do, PJ. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you can't pass that shit and you're going to do it illegally, get somebody to, one of the homies at the smog places to do it, dude, it is so fucking expensive. I mean, it's like $500 just for them to like clear it.
That it comes down at my term is a very great honor, but it bestows additional powers or maybe the same power on the president. The president has the right to do this. And that has to do with a lot of agencies all throughout the system. So it's considered, the biggest of the group. And I can understand that this has been going on for almost 100 years. They've been waiting for this decision. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were posting about how important it is to get Save America Act passed. Who do you see as the biggest hurdle to getting this across the finish line?
Well, it's held up in the Senate. And frankly, if you terminated the filibuster, you just need 50 votes, and we have 53. And then you have JD. So the Democrats are going to terminate the filibuster. But if you did reconciliation, you could do it with 50 votes. I mean, the best would be to terminate the filibuster, but for some reason, but you have the same basic people. But even Rand Paul is in favor of the Save America Act, if you can believe it. Think of it. Rand Paul is strongly in favor. He's fighting for it. So that's good news. But you would have Lisa Murkowski always against things like this. Nobody knows why. I think.
The Save America Act, I think that it's not even Democrats that are super. I mean, they are against it completely, but they're playing a game during this administration, and they're doing a very good job of actually stalling a lot of shit and kind of putting a halt to a lot of different things that Trump and the administration wants to do. Truth be told, I think all of us. Well, I can't say all of us, but I'm going to say that me personally, I want the Save America Act to go through. But the way that you are putting pressure on this nonstop is not going to necessarily work. It does in some cases, but when it becomes like a repeated, just it's over and over and over again, it kind of gets washed out, So,
but you have Lisa Murkowski, you have Susan Collins, you have Dillis, who's against, and he's not in office because of me, so he holds me, because I wouldn't endorse him. I think you have Senator Cassidy against it too.
I think he supports it this time.
And I think you have Mitch McConnell against it too. Mitch McConnell. He's very disloyal to John Thune. John Thune was a very good person for him. I mean, he was a very loyal person, and Mitch McConnell's against him.
That I agree with, Texas Gidget. I think it goes for all, both sides. I think everyone should be thrown the fuck out and redo it all. You know what I mean? Get some new people.
Almost all the time, because he's angry. I guess, probably at me.
Mr. President? Yeah, what about Democrats, Mr. President? Are there any you think you could change their minds?
The Democrats should do it too. I mean, you probably get one Democrat who's, a common sense Democrat, who that is. And everybody should vote for this. This is the Save America Act. Voter ID with photo, ideally, but voter ID, proof of citizenship, and no mail-in ballots, which is, to my way of thinking, maybe the most important of all because it's so corrupt. But you have exceptions if you're away, exceptions for the military, they're deployed, exception, illness, disability, you have exceptions, strong exceptions. But the cheating on the ballots and mail-in ballots, Jimmy Carter said it a long time ago. He said you can't have mail-in ballots. He headed up a committee with Scoop Jackson and others, all respected. And he actually, I think it was Jimmy Carter's finest moment, not doing president.
And what's up, GEG, my man? Good morning to you.
But he headed up a committee and he said he came out with a strong conclusion that if you do mail-in ballots, there's going to be cheating. France gave it up. We're the only country in the world that does this type of mail-in ballot. There's no other country in the world. You know why? They tried it and it was totally dishonest. And it's really dishonest. So we shouldn't do mail-in ballots. So it's not too much to ask for voter ID, proof of citizenship, and no mail-in ballots. And you'll have honest elections.
What are your plans for the housing bill, Mr. President?
I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by comparison.
I need them to talk about Iran.
To the Save America Act. I think the
I'm sure it's coming
Save
up.
America Act is exactly what it says. It's saving America from crooked elections. And the housing bill is a bill that can get approved. They worked on it long and hard. It's very bipartisan. That means the Democrats like it. I think it's maybe even, it's probably maybe more that way they're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency. Nobody did well like me in housing.
Okay, cool. Get into Iran, please.
I made a lot of money with housing, but
cool.
Being America, there's maybe 5 that
skipping
from Alaska. Nobody's done more for Alaska than me. She's Trump deranged. What can I tell you? But those 4 or 5 people that I mentioned should vote. How do you vote against Save America? How do you vote against it? How do you vote against voter identification or proof of citizenship? The only people that would vote against that are people that
I agree, Claire.
Election. The Democrats need it because their policy is so bad. They want open borders. They want high taxes. They want terrible medical, anything medical. I'm the one that did favored nations. I'm reducing drug prices.
And most favored nations is a massive W for Americans. There's no doubt about that.
It hasn't been sent to me yet. It's coming.
I skipped forward, by the way.
I understand. And then I'll make it. Here's what I would like to say. Much more than a bill, that big deal. It's a yawn. Some people say it's wonderful. To me, compared to the Save America Act, just about everything is a big yawn.
Birthright citizenship is next.
Yeah, so birthright citizenship just got ruled on right before we started the live stream, and it did not rule in his favor.
Birthright citizenship, what are your thoughts, and will you accept it if it rules against you?
Well, I guess I have to accept it's the Supreme Court, so I'll accept. I think it's very bad for our nation. We're the only nation.
I saw this part on social media of him responding to this exact question.
That does it. No other nation does that birthright citizenship. No, not even close. Some did it, they ended it. It's tremendously destructive. It's extremely costly. I don't know, it's up to them. But in terms of for the good of the country, it'd be great if they didn't allow it. It would be great. But I can't tell you, the Slaughter case was the big case today. That was really a big case because it gave strength to presidents and strength to the presidency. A very important case. It's been going on for almost 100 years, think of that. And this was the ruling that really topped everything by a lot today. Yeah.
Mr. President, Zohar Mamdani said in an interview this week that he was open to being the poster child for socialist candidates. Are you worried about more socialist candidates?
Socialist candidates. What a fucking joke, yo. The whole left has just become a joke.
Well, I think it's a big threat to our nation, actually. Because it's not.
I mean, so is the right, no doubt. But the left is, just absolutely delusional.
Socialism is really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding.
Like, I like me some blue dog Democrats. I like those guys. I can have a good conversation with them.
There's World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack. I think this is the biggest threat to our nation. People will smile when I say that.
What's up, Bill Castle over there in Washington? My man, good morning to you. We're going to move on, by the way, because we got quite a bit to still get through this morning. Trump nominates acting Labor Secretary Keith Sonderling for a permanent role. So that's a big deal. This just happened yesterday as well, I believe. Yes.
We do have some movement, though, on his cabinet and a new potentially Secretary for Labor, as Keith Sonderling was the acting Secretary of Labor. President Trump officially...
And we're going to go through this very quick. This is a very, very quick update.
Nominating him for the full role. This on social media, on Truth Social, talking about it, saying, "It's my great honor to announce announced that Keith Sonderling, the outstanding acting U.S. Secretary of Labor, to be permanent. Keith previously served in a variety of roles throughout his career. Keith has proven his dedication to delivering strong results for the hard work.
What's up, Pook? Good morning from Los Angeles. Well, good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning, your topless Taco Tuesday so far.
People of the country,
Shout out to
will
LA.
do an incredible job in his new role. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We also have a comment from Keith on social media saying, "I'm deeply grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence."
Now, mind you, it still needs to go and get Senate approval.
In both of President Trump's
Congressional
administrations has been the
approval.
greatest honor of my life. If confirmed by the Senate, I look forward to continuing that service as Secretary of Labor and advancing the president's agenda on behalf of America's workers and families. And this comes just about 2 months after the former Labor Secretary, Lori Chavez-DeRemer, she resigned amid abuse of power allegations. A live look in Washington, D.C. at the White House. Sonderling,
all right,
who is nominated president, as
Wait,
a lawyer,
I want to hear
previous
this.
Positions, acting positions.
Yes, he was acting.
Leadership roles across President Trump's administration, previously the Deputy Labor Secretary and a Republican member of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission during Trump's second term. In addition to his Labor Secretary post, Sonderling has been the acting director of the U.S. of Government Ethics and the Institute of Museum and Library Services, one of several agencies Trump targeted for closure in the executive order last year. Sonderling's nomination subject to a Senate confirmation.
Right, just like I told you guys, it needs to go through the Senate. All right, quickly, let's get into this heat wave prompts cooling centers in the Mideast, it says. Quickly, we're just going to get a quick update on this because, you know, the weather has been nuts out here, at least where I live.
And we're just listening in here to
I'm going to have the
Chicago officials as they are giving an update here on the heat wave across the Midwest. So most of us also
Interesting. They just misspelled Midwest. I thought they were talking about kind of like the Kentucky, like I thought they were talking about like the South kind of area, but they're not. They just misspelled it. They spelled it Midest. So they just forgot the W.
Some of the other areas as well that are dealing with
Why
this
are you gay?
sweltering heat wave.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Shit.
Across the Midwest. Going to bring out now to a live look over at Detroit as triple-digit heat is heading their way, and this could pose serious health concerns for people across the metro, particularly for older adults, young children, and people with chronic medical conditions. And this is where we want to bring into the conversation here Robin Murdoch with Fox 2 Detroit. Robin, what can you tell us there?
Dude, John, there's no doubt. You know that I'm actually in politics, right? Like I'm actually involved here locally. Yeah, both sides want shit for free, okay? But one is just gayer about it. That's it.
Why are you gay?
Literally, that's how the parties work. Both sides want shit for free, but one is just gayer about it.
Well, it's very, very hot here already. I just jumped out of our live truck, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, just past 7 o'clock in the morning, it's already 77 degrees here in Detroit. Feels a lot warmer than that because of the humidity out here, Bowen. I can tell you that I'm standing in front of one of the recreation centers here in the city of Detroit. In fact, all of them will turn into cooling centers today just to help people deal with these extreme temperatures. People can also stop by any of the Detroit library branches today just to get out of the elements. City leaders, they know that not everybody has air conditioning, so they want to make sure that everybody does stay safe in these
You're pretty dumb and dense if you don't understand what the fuck I'm saying.
extreme temperatures. And that is why medical experts, those in the medical field, they're telling people that they want to make sure that they drink lots of fluids today. They want to start drinking fluids the moment they get up in the morning, and they want to drink them early and often. Some of the other things that you want to keep in mind, you want
Yo, fuck this heat wave, yo.
to do your activities
Because this week it shows that we're supposed to, just get wrecked over here in the South.
in the morning or maybe in the evening. It'll be a little bit cooler. And of course, you want to take lots of breaks if you do have to be outside.
Hey, bye-bye, bitch.
But really the best advice for those in the medical field is just to listen to your body. It does not take long.
Hey, remember that you're on that side of the camera, okay? You're on that side of that screen. So you're watching me, little punk ass.
For that heat exhaustion or heat stroke to set in, take a listen to the chief of the medical staff at Detroit Receiving Hospital.
the vulnerable patients, we believe, are those that are elderly, over 65, infants that are very, very young, and people with health-related illnesses, cardiovascular disease.
So Detroit, you got Chicago over there. I mean, I guess they're getting smoked up there too.
Lung disease, kidney disease, these all are high risk. The elements that we worry about collectively are heat, humidity, and the length of exposure. So is there an actual temperature? If it's 89 and you still got high humidity and you're out there long enough, it can be just as if it's 92, maybe not as high humidity. So it's the combination of all of those.
Did you guys see on social media, there was this crazy video going viral of a department store of some sort that was opening up their doors to allow their customers to come in at like 8 in the morning or whatever when they open. And there was a line, like as if it was a release day of something. There was a line outside the door just to get on sale ACs and shit all throughout Europe. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it wasn't just 1 or 2 videos I saw. I mean, it was like a viral thing that people were rushing to go get ACs. They would get like, you know, big Costco warehouse full, you know, like pallets and shit. They go set them up and then they come running in, grabbing a fan, grabbing an AC, a portable AC, all this shit. Yeah, it was kind of wild to watch.
And prolonged exposure and looking for symptoms is really the key.
And we, of course, are going to have that very dangerous combination here in Detroit over the next several days, that combination of heat and humidity. And that is why the city has opened up these recreation centers and turned them into cooling centers during normal.
Wow, making cooling centers. I mean, hey, listen, man, I'm all about for the misters outside. I'm a big proponent. I mean, listen, I may rust a little bit. If you guys don't know, I'm an amputee. I may rust a little bit, man, but trust me, it's worth it to cool off. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next thing here. Iran rejects face-to-face talks with U.S. leaders. This coming out just a couple of hours ago. And this was one of the big things I put on the thumbnail of this morning is Iran rejects. Well, what are they rejecting here? They're rejecting to go face-to-face, basically, here. There is going to be some sort of still, sit down in Doha, but it's not going to be like face-to-face, them negotiating anything really. So anyways, this is the update on this morning.
You are taking a look from Fox News as we're learning just a bit more about what's taking place over in Qatar. U.S. negotiators and an Iranian delegation both in Qatar today. However, as you see there on your screen, Fox's Trey Yingst now reporting that.
Oh, shit, Virginia Chaos. I forgot. We got to snack on that big-ass sandwich at some point.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big-ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Yeah, what he said. All right, back to this.
Iran has said there will be no direct face-to-face talks between the two. Qatar's foreign ministry confirming that same information to I-24 News, saying there's no quote-unquote high-level meeting between the two, and that U.S. envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff will meet with mediators instead. This all comes after days of strikes, which began when Iran launched an attack on a ship off the coast of Oman. That was Thursday of last week. The U.S. military responding with retaliatory strikes on Iran Friday, calling Iran's action.
Damn, up there in Canada is actually this is the nice part of the year for you guys, huh?
It's a violation of that MOU. That is, of course, the Memorandum of Understanding. President Trump saying Monday that Iran had asked for a meeting and he agreed. But again, we are not talking about direct negotiations there, but both officials are over in Qatar. Right now, I do want to bring in Dr. Raphael Cohen, the director of the Strategy and Doctrine Program at RAND's Project Air Force. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Josh. It's always a pleasure.
I've never seen this guy before, and does he got a little bit of that tism? I don't know.
Of course.
What's up,
and
Doc?
first off, I want to start by talking to you about the talks overall. Is it any surprise that there are not these direct talks when both U.S. and Iran have officials there over in Qatar? Was there an expectation that there would be a face-to-face meeting?
I don't think so. I mean, look, what underscores the entire negotiation is the sort of vague.
Man, why can these guys not get on something better than a laptop with their, piece of shit 2010 webcam and using some janky ass microphone setup? Yeah, let's just go on to the mainstream media. Let's go talk to the world here, and let's just get on with some $10 headphones from gas station. I mean, come Come on, man.
fraught lack of trust between the two sides. Given the recent flare-up in violence, it's not too surprising to me, at least, that both sides aren't willing to sort of sit down and negotiate. Instead, we're going to be using Qataris as intermediaries. I will also note that in the past, there's sometimes been a unscheduled brush-by engagement where the two sides managed to, quote-unquote, pass each other on the hall and end up talking, even though there wasn't something scheduled. So, we know what the official statements are. We'll see what the actual negotiations look like. But again, this is a very fraught negotiation, so it's not too surprising that the two sides aren't sitting down across the table, at least as planned.
And going back
Yeah, and it's not planned.
to the end of last week, we know that we saw Iran launch the attacks there against that ship that was off the coast of Oman there in the Strait of Hormuz, which you're looking at a live look there from marine traffic at this point. And again, when all of that started and then you had the U.S. retaliatory strikes, how did that kind of change where things stood?
Yeah, so I think what this underscores, Josh, is what the dust-up sort of highlights to me, at least, is a couple different things. First off, the Iranians tend to have a very decentralized command and control system. So I think one of the questions that I think analysts like myself are going to be
What's up, Dragon Classy? Good morning.
looking at is, to what extent was this attack on the shipping in the Gulf of Oman directed from on high versus a commander in the field sort of getting a little bit ahead of their skis, so to speak. Even if it was a deliberate attack from the Iranians directed from on high, I mean, I think this would be in sort of keeping with past Iranian behavior. The Iranians tend to push whenever they see weakness and try to sort of test their limits.
Yes, we all know that. You're not telling us anything that we don't already know or haven't already reported on. All right, we're going to move on because it doesn't look like we have any other big official statements from officials. Usually that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for analysts to explain anything to us because actually that's my job. But nonetheless, let's get into U.S.-Iran peace talks in Doha. Qatar off to a shaky start, it says. And it says here, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in Doha to meet Qatari mediators to discuss U.S.-Iran negotiations, but direct talks with Iran are not yet planned for Tuesday, which is obviously today, and this coming out, literally like just an hour ago. So this is some pretty relevant and, happening now kind of stuff, so...
And welcome back into Live Now. And we want to get back to the latest discussions on the ongoing conflicts over in the Middle East. We want to take you out now to a live look over Tel Aviv, Israel here, as we continue to track the latest here, as there is some...
Yeah, dude, was a little odd.
Back and forth here when it comes to potential talks between the United States and Iran to meet today. We are getting some information that some Iranian, rather their officials may not be meeting directly here with the United States here. And to talk more about this and just some of the latest that we're getting, we want to bring into the program here Peter Duran with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies onto the program. Peter, so good to be with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what we could expect today over in Qatar, if we could see any...
I hate when they call it that. Qatar. Why? Some people say that is the correct way to say it, but everyone calls it Qatar, man. Come on, man.
Sort of potential negotiations taking place between the United States or Iran.
Thanks, Bowen. Well, this is the definition of the question. Couldn't we have done this meeting via email? Right now, with the absence of serious Iranian negotiators to meet Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the president's designated negotiators here, we're really looking at a situation that is the wrong place, the wrong time, and the wrong incentives. The location. Qatar is not a neutral mediator for this discussion. Their interests are...
No, their interests are actually in Iran. So... Qatar is an interesting thing, and why we are utilizing them in particular is because what is the best way to get to Iran, right? You got to think in persons, in people, how we work. If you want to get close to your enemy, well, sometimes you use their friends, right? And that's exactly what we're doing in the situation of Qatar in the regards of Iran. Is we're using their friends to basically force Iran to play nice with us, because coming from Qatar's side, and if Qatar says, hey, you guys need to chill out to Iran is more willing to listen to their friend than to their opposition, right? So anyways.
Are not fully aligned with the United States. In fact, they're much more aligned with the Iranian regime. Look at the timing. The IRGC has been acting by attacking ships in
What's up, Jack? Good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your topless Taco Tuesday so
the
far.
Strait of Hormuz, and we have been constantly reacting. That puts us on the back foot. And finally, look at the incentives. The IRGC just cannot and will not give up its protection racket, its extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz. That's paragraph 4 in the MOU. And until and unless that changes, I really don't have much hope for the continuation of a mostly peaceful ceasefire.
Then I wanted to bring in this X post right here from Fox News. It says high-level talks are set to begin in Qatar as U.S. officials work to advance the memorandum of understanding with Iran.
By the way, we just hit overtime. You know what they say about OT. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Let's get your donos in. Absolutely. You must obey.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Now that you guys have got the best propaganda you're going to get all day, W for everybody. But we still love all of you guys.
Denied.
Anyways, Easy Frank says, bro, might get a new theme song with Don DeMarco. No, I already give him too much of a spot on my show. You guys get to hear it all the time with the air horn. But he's like a old school DJ or whatever the case is, and he gets enough of a shout out with me using it every day.
Iranian officials say there will be no direct talks with the United States, though an Iranian delegation will be in Qatar for indirect discussions. President Trump says both the diplomatic and military options remain on the table as negotiations continue. Despite the renewed diplomatic push, the ceasefire remains intact. And just to your point earlier, like this could have been an email. If you're going to go to Qatar, but there will be no direct talks.
What's up, Kev Dog? Good morning to you.
What's the point? What's the message Iran is trying to send right now?
Well, Bowen, the Iranian regime is a superpower when it comes to playing diplomatic and negotiating games. Look what they've done. They've seen the Americans coming to Qatar. They are basically not responding in kind. They're not going to have a face-to-face meeting like we had in Switzerland just about a week ago. And they continue to draw out these negotiations, tapping President Trump along.
Tap.
And why wouldn't they? Incentive structures here are all misaligned.
Well, that's the only way that they are really fighting back on a diplomatic level of talks, as well as them being able to forcefully shut down the strait. So yeah, that they think they're on top of their shit, and they are right now. We're definitely not in the best position possible. I was hoping, obviously, all of us were hoping when this whole thing happened that it wouldn't be this. And unfortunately, this is exactly why from the very start of the war, even before the war started and we saw the ramp up, I was saying, please don't do it. Please don't go into Iran. Please don't do it. And then we did. And it's like, fuck. And then basically my next stance on that was, okay, no boots on the ground, please.
Let's recall, Vice President Vance went to the American public and he said the IRGC would not receive any financial benefits until and unless they changed their behavior. And then the Department of Treasury promptly issued a 60-day waiver on our sanctions, allowing Iran to sell as much oil as it wants anywhere in the world. Their immediate reaction was to start attacking ships right away. So clearly the incentive structure for the Iranian regime is upside down, and that certainly needs to change if we're going to see progress in these negotiations.
Yes, by the way, we have over 220 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Listen, I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. You don't have to like it for that reason. You guys can like it for me and what we're doing here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that. All right, back to this.
Is it in Iran's interest to prolong this or any sort of talks? Is that kind of their game plan? Is there any benefits for them to prolong it, whether that be more economic impacts on the world with the strait or maybe a chance for them to rebuild? What's your analysis on that?
Well, it really is their fight back, essentially, is doing these kind of things, stretching out shit. Time is actually working for them and working against us in the United States. So they're willing to go down all the way down to their knees and die for that shit. So just like I've said before as well, you're not going to see anything really happen here to any real quote unquote peace of anything unless the IRGC is no longer the regime. As long as the IRGC is in place, there's not going to be peace. Just saying.
So long as their oil tankers can sail past our ships,
Moto,
past our
good morning.
former blockade that we had established just outside of the Strait of Hormuz, so long as they can continue to sell oil as they can for at least 60 days
Sorry,
under this
Tootie.
negotiated ceasefire, quote unquote, as long as they can make money selling oil, then they have an incentive not to take any action, to rearm, to reestablish their military forces, and at will attack ships, thus keeping their extortion racket over the Strait of Hormuz in place. It's very clearly President Trump is going to have to use more stick and less carrot in order to put some steel behind his words, because so far the negotiating process is simply not producing the kind of results that J.D. Vance promised the American public.
And where does this leave us now with this memorandum of understanding?
It leaves us in a very, very, very fragile ceasefire. We're still in a ceasefire, theoretically. I mean, it's up to the United States to say, now we're, not only did you breach the ceasefire, but now we're voiding the ceasefire and we're going back to military conflict. So we're still in a very, very fragile ceasefire. All right, quickly, one of the big things that came out about 5-10 minutes before we started the live stream was the ruling of birthright citizenship from the Supreme Court. So let's go ahead and bring this up. This was unfavorable to Americans, but it is what it is.
Josh
Supreme Court said it.
Flagging me down here in the newsroom, saying that the justices have handed down a decision on birthright citizenship. Right now, we don't have the specific ruling, but that just coming down, and they struck it down.
Say that they have actually struck down the executive order for birthright citizenship, the one that President Trump signed there during his first day in office of.
Oh, when they did that, it muted him.
Again, this is, of course, the Trump versus Barber case. Birthright citizenship, the court striking down that executive order. Gerard and I had talked about it quite a few times, and it seemed as though from the oral arguments, that is what was going to happen. It appeared that the justices were skeptical there of the argument that was being made regarding people essentially abusing the amendment there and essentially abusing birthright citizenship. So the court, it appears, siding there with, not President Trump, going against him.
And I just wanted to let our viewers know, we've been getting raw reaction immediately from outside of the Supreme Court. Folks, as you can see right here, celebrating. We also want to let you know this is a live raw feed, and we have seen some signs in the past that might have some inflammatory language on them. We did want to make that of note to our viewers, keeping in mind this is a historic event, so we wanted to bring you these images live, raw, and unfiltered, but there might be some signs, that might have inflammatory language. I just simply wanted to point that out to our viewers as we are continuing to cover this. So, Gerard, historic right here, the Supreme Court striking down the executive order on birthright citizenship. And this is the live reaction happening outside of the courthouse. We've been seeing some folks celebrating this decision right here. As we look ahead, I have to imagine that there is going to be a lot of discussion in terms of what this might mean.
What this means, I think, is what we're seeing from the very start of this opinion is that they're looking at this from the 14th Amendment, and they really are issuing a very definitive and decisive order based on constitutional arguments, not on statutory language. So this is really forecloses what President Trump has done in terms of the executive order, but also signals that future efforts to restrict birthright citizenship will likely fail because they're directly discussing the language of the 14th Amendment. So they're saying clearly that subject to the jurisdiction of
we can blame the counterclockwise tobacco on the Supreme Court this morning. Absolutely.
The United States means being present in this country, means that anyone who was born here with parents who are here becomes or is a citizen. The court is looking, I'm looking through this very quickly. They're making a lot of historical references and very carefully going through precedent, and not just precedent, but historical facts, even going back to Dred Scott and Wong Kim Ark from 1898 as controlling, but where we're very clearly seeing a line being drawn that this is a basic constitutional issue. The 14th Amendment is clear, and that birthright citizenship means born in the U.S. It doesn't mean born in the U.S. of people intending to reside here or having legal status.
All right, another live look there outside of the Supreme Court as we're seeing this reaction happening in real time. People just hearing the news that the Supreme Court has struck down the executive order limiting birthright citizenship. And no doubt we're going to continue to gather reaction from both sides. And I have to imagine President Trump as well. As Josh, you pointed out, he was actually physically in the court as he was hearing those two arguments. And Gerard, we had been talking about this because we had been hearing the line of questioning from both conservative judges and liberal judges when it came to this particular case. And this is really what they were focusing on, really just, urging those two sides to really defend their positions when it came to this amendment.
No, that's right. And what we're seeing here is that this was, we're seeing that Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett are the ones who really crossed lines and voted with a liberal bloc. But we also have Justice Kavanaugh, who filed an opinion concurring in the judgment. So they're all reading the law in the same or very similar manner, looking at what has been historical precedent and finding that it supports the interpretation that the 14th Amendment was meant to apply to anyone born here, regardless of status.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. Josh, I'm going to take you.
Right, and the intention on the 14th, exactly. You're absolutely right on that, Glaret. The 14th Amendment was written for freed slaves, not for future peoples. Exactly. That's exactly what the 14th Amendment was written for. But people don't like to refer back to historical facts. You know, it's oftentimes it happens all the time.
What I want is to really raise up the audio on the live reaction happening outside of the court. I know that you have what's known as an air scrubber. As again, this is a very, very hotly contested issue. We're very mindful of what we share with our viewers. We want to share it raw and unfiltered, but again, keeping that in mind. So what I'm going to
Oh, well, they closed it out. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for hanging out with us this morning. And listen, hitting that like button, double tapping that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Very much appreciate your engagement, your guys' donations. What allows us to do this Monday through Friday is because of you guys that are in the membership program. So I'm very grateful. Thank you to all of you guys. We'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Black Dragon. He's live right now, so make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Until then, God bless you guys. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Be safe out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne, amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry, a metal man